In March, the BJP-led NDA government sprung a surprise. It decided to redraw the political map of India. It declared that the number of seats in Lok Sabha will be increased from the current 543 to 850. And after this delimitation exercise, the government decided to introduce changes in Women's Reservation Act to implement 33% reservation for women in 2029 Lok Sabha elections. This meant bringing in an amendment to the 2023 law and delinking it from the ongoing census exercise and basing it on the already conducted 2011 census. And what followed was an uproar. The opposition accused the government of using 33% reservation to undertake delimitation and not the other way around. The regional parties from the south said linking the delimitation exercise to population would mean reduction of representation from southern states which had implemented the family planning measures in the 1970s more conscientiously than the northern states. Is this the breakthrough women have been waiting for, or a complex constitutional puzzle that might tilt the balance of power between North and South? It is Friday, the 17th of April. I'm Nidhi Sharma, and you're listening to The Morning Brief. In this episode, we look at the 3 bills that are being discussed in Parliament. To understand the move, we have to look at the 3-pronged strategy the government is using. They aren't just passing one law, they are rewriting the rules of the game. So first up, the Constitution 131st Amendment Bill 2026. This is the enabler. Remember the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam from 2023? It said women get 33% seats, but only after a new census and delimitation. This new 131st Amendment removes that waiting time. It allows the government to use the 2011 census, the last published one, or any census Parliament decides to start the process now. The Delimitation Bill 2026. This is the architect. It sets up a new delimitation commission. What will be the job of this commission? To figure out where those new 300 plus seats will go. The bill suggests the Lok Sabha could swell to 850 seats. This is the steepest rise in our history. The third is the Union Territories Laws Amendment Bill 2026. This is the finisher. This ensures that the 33% quota isn't just for the big states. It puts Delhi, Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir into the same fold, ensuring their assemblies also reflect the new women's reservation rules. I'm joined by my colleague Jatin Takkar, who tells us what this entire exercise means. What is the government trying to do with the 3 bills?
If you look at the big picture, it's looked like a total political reset. They are not only increasing the number of the Lok Sabha seats, assembly seats, while ensuring 33% women reservation both in Lok Sabha and state assemblies. The government would also able to redraw the political map of the country. So it's a package of 3 legislation: 131st Constitutional Amendment Bill, Delimitation Commission Bill, and third one is UT Bill. First 2 bills comes under the purview of Law Ministry, which will be moved by Union Law Minister Arjun Megwal. Third comes under the purview of Home Ministry, which will be moved by Home Minister Amit Shah. The core of these 3 legislation is 131st Constitutional Amendment Bill. It has 7 constitutional amendments. The main constitutional amendment is amendment to the Article 81 of the Constitution. And this government has done 2 things. It has put the capping on maximum Lok Sabha seats to 850. It has made it very clear that the delimitation would be done on the basis of 2011 census. This point has become a bone of contention between the ruling side and the opposition side, especially in the southern parties. And this could become a very hot topic, a hot political issue in the Tamil Nadu elections, where the state will go for polling on 23rd of this month. So the southern states apprehensions are, if you do the delimitation on the basis of 2011 census, their proportionate representation, their current share in the Lok Sabha will come down. For example, if Tamil Nadu has a 39 seats and 39 out of 543, whatever percentage it has as of now in the Lok Sabha, in the new Lok Sabha on the basis of 2011 census, its numbers would come down. But the government's counter argument is that they are increasing the seats across the states in an equal proportion. That is in 50%. But the catch lies here. On this thing, bill is silent. There is no mention, and it is very difficult to infer or draw, interpret it from some any point in the bill where the government made it clear. Like in case of Tamil Nadu, the government intent is to from 39 to 59. So then every state there is a 50% increase. But in that, even some southern states have apprehension. So they are saying you are increasing by 50%, but still UP has a bigger share. Bihar has a bigger share. In number terms, the difference between the Hindi heartland states and the southern states will be much large. And they are saying that if you combine after delimitation with 50% formula, as which government is off the record conveying, which is not written in the bill, the UP will become 120, the Bihar will become 60. It's 180. If you count 5 states, they are also come around some 194 seats. So there will be hardly a difference of 14 seats, this 50% formula. So let's see how these things plays out, the politics, the floor management. Interesting time to watch.
So, Jatin, tell me why the immediate action from the on the government's part? Because it was the opposition's demand when in 2023 September this was passed, women's reservation bill. The opposition said immediately you should implement it in the 2024 elections, and the government said no, we will do it after the delimitation exercise, after the census, and then the delimitation. And now the government has gone back to what exactly was proposed by the opposition then. So, why this change of track?
So it's a very valid question. So in 2023, the bill was passed in the first sitting of the Lok Sabha in the new bill. And that time, you rightly said, many opposition parties said that please do necessary amendments if required so that it could be implemented from 2024. This issue has been going on since independence. Apparently, the 81st Constitutional Amendment was the first amendment regarding women reservation bill. But government wanted to increase the number of seats so that there could be a further representation, and then you need to allocate the seats to the woman, because see, to allocate seats to the woman, it needs to be done on the lottery basis. And then government said they would go with the census and do. That was the policy. Now the politics is that census is being done on the caste census. So it is taking much time. It is for the first time perhaps the caste census is being done. There are some 55, 56,000 castes in India, and there are castes within sub-castes. It's a very complicated exercise. So now government feels it may take time. So it may not be able to do before 2029. Another politics is that every party, whosoever has been in power, would like to redraw the constituencies so that they have a greater idea of the caste equation, the social equation, the geographical equation, the region equations, and arrange them according to their end. So it's done by the Delimitation Commission, but have some sort of a supervision or some sort of a say or a opinion on it. And that's what the opposition also would like to, because Rahul Gandhi clearly mentioned the term gerrymandering in his reaction. So that is another politics of both sides favoring and arguing against this bill.
Jatin, one last question. How badly stuck is the opposition? It cannot seem to be opposing the women's reservation bill because itself championed it when it was in power, and it is not in favor of the delimitation bill. So how stuck is the opposition?
So rather, I would say both sides are stuck. If you go by the numbers game, how BJP-led NDA does its floor management, you interviewed Chandrababu Naidu. The TDP is only supporting the major southern player in the NDA alliance. Another is JDS. ADMK has no Lok Sabha MP, but TDP is a very, very crucial, specifically in numbers term. BJP has 240 MPs on its own, and overall NDA strength is 293. And to passage of the bill, with the effective strength of 540, you need a two-thirds of the members present, or two-thirds of all members, more than 360 votes. So 360 minus 293, You need some 167 odd more votes from where we'll get. And if you look at the opposition maths, Congress, DMK, Samajwadi Party, and Trinamool Congress comes up to 185. But the catch here is that two parties, DMK and TMC, are ruling party in poll-bound Tamil Nadu and Bengal. So they won't miss an opportunity to corner the government on any issue. So how it will be was seen. And now, as we are talking, government has moved the proviso. So they are proviso that the rule 66 of the Lok Sabha's rules and should not be considered with this. All these three bills should be considered as a one package. By any chance, Constitutional 131st Amendment Bill gets passed and opposition opposes delimitation or they opposes any amendment in 131st, the entire legislation cannot go ahead. So the government is stuck in this. The House will begin today. The picture will more become clear. What government says on the floor of the House, how they manage the floor, and everybody will take a call, keeping an election the totally electoral politics and the electoral math. So interesting time, but I would like to say as a political reporter, one thing came to my mind. Last time, Abki Baar 400 Par was a BJP slogan. If this bill gets passed, Abki Baar 400 Par sabka slogan. Because if you have to form the government, this time you need to cross 400 mark. And that will not be a haunting statement.
Right. Thank you so much, Jatin. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
So why increase the number of seats to 850? Why not just reserve 33% of the current 543 seats? Well, that's the political sweetener. If you reserve 33% of 543 seats today, roughly 180 sitting male MPs could lose their constituencies. Now, that's a hard sell in any parliament. By expanding the House to 850, you add about 307 seats. You can give women their 280 plus seats without necessarily firing the men who are currently in office. It is an expansion-led reservation. But here is the rub. These seats are distributed based on population. States in the north, like UP and Bihar, have seen huge population growth. States in the south, like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala, have successfully controlled theirs. If we use the new numbers, the north gains massive influence and the south feels penalized for its success. Now, in Lok Sabha, when this bill was being discussed, the Prime Minister assured that this balance will not be upset. I'm joined by Professor Sanjay Kumar of the Center for the Study of Developing Societies, CSDS, who will tell us how the current delimitation exercise does not solve the age-old problem of one person, one vote, and one value. Welcome to the Morning Brief, sir. Please tell us, why is the current exercise on delimitation so important, and why is it running into controversies?
Delimitation exercise is important because, as you know, the delimitation was frozen till 2026. So that time has come, that freeze has to be lifted. What is happening at the moment, delimitation has been linked with the Reservation Bill, which needs to be implemented, Reservation Act, which has to be implemented, Women Reservation Act. So that is why the two things seems to be linked. Because what is happening is that in the delimitation, the government has proposed that the seats in the parliament is going to be increased. And now with the new act in place, it is mandatory on the part of government to reserve 33% seats for women in the parliament and the state assemblies.
Why is this still a problem? And does the government, with this delimitation exercise, address the age-old criticism that, one vote in one state is not equivalent to one vote in the other state?
No, if the proposal is that every state they are going to increase the seats by 50%, then the question which you have raised, Nidhi, is about the value of every vote should be equal. That's not going to be addressed. So the size of each parliamentary seat, which was unequal, so that will still remain unequal.
So the government, that means, has postponed the problem once again?
If what is being stated, that 50% seats are going to be increased flat for every state, then it means that this age-old problem, it will be postponed for some more years, more decades, who knows.
So the expectation with this round of delimitation is that it would have addressed this problem, because the freeze was for, I think, almost 3 decades, and now it has opened. So the expectation was that since we have stabilized in a way the population, this would have been done in this session.
Population growth has not stabilized because still you can see the states like Andhra, the population growth rate is what we call the replacement ratio is just 1.2 or something, which is to say the population growth rate is still very different if you compare the southern states with the North Indian state. So if the government want to address this problem, that all the parliamentary constituencies of this country should be of more or less equal size, barring some exceptions in the states of Northeast, then the southern states will lose the number of seats, their share in the parliament. So that is the burning issue. The southern states are up in arms. They don't want this to happen. And that is why the problem would continue for some more years if this is not addressed in this delimitation exercise.
Sanjay, you have also written a book on women's representation. How do you see the current move of the government of implementing it immediately, and what exactly is the politics of the move?
A controversy, why opposition is raising noises, because of two things, I believe. While earlier rule mentioned that the next delimitation will take place after 2026 and the latest census data will be used. Now the government has mentioned that 2011 census data will be used. There is a gray area in that, and the opposition parties are still unclear. The new census 2026 data should be used. Why the government has gone back to 2011 census data? So they think that there's something fishy, some gray areas which they are not able to unfold, or the government has not been able to specify that.
How do you see it playing out in Parliament? The southern parties are opposing. Do you think the government will be able to swing it? And do you think the government is in a tight spot and the opposition is walking the tightrope because it does not know how to support women's reservation bill and still oppose the delimitation bill?
The opposition is in a huge dilemma. There is a big problem in front of them because they are demanding, if the government is sincere, they should implement the women reservation bill in the current size of the Lok Sabha, which the government is not willing to do. So what might get presented in the eyes of the common people is that the government is sincere. They want to implement the women reservation bill. They want to give quota to the women in parliament and state assemblies. But when opposition opposes that move, it would be presented to the people as if opposition parties are anti-women. They are not willing to support women reservation in parliament and state assemblies. So it's a catch-22 situation for the opposition. While they don't want to support the move which is being taken by the government, still they have to convey this to the people that they are not supporting the way it is being implemented. But I'm not sure whether they will be able to communicate this clearly to the people of this country.
While almost no party wants to be seen voting against the women's reservation, the opposition is calling this a Trojan horse. They argue that using the 2011 census, which is 15 years old, is a data nightmare. And then there is the gerrymandering charge. Critics say the new Delimitation Commission, headed by a retired Supreme Court judge but appointed by the centre, could redraw boundaries to favour the ruling party's strongholds. Is it a masterstroke to finally empower women, or a way to fundamentally change the federal structure of India under the cover of a popular social cause? With the 2029 general election on the horizon, the clock is ticking. This is all we have for you today. This episode was produced and sound designed by Indranui Bhattacharjee. All Morning Brief episodes drop every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday on platforms of your choice. If you enjoyed this episode, do spread the word. This is your host Nidhi Sharma signing off. Have a great weekend.